You are spending another Christmas with your family, and after some fights and arguments you lose the Christmas spirit, and this ends up awakening an evil entity that has only one desire: to kill everyone. What would you do? Do you think you could survive? I don't think so. In this Christmas special from Defeating Movies, we'll follow the Engel family as they celebrate Christmas and unwittingly summon a Christmas demon, and I'll show you why you won't survive Krampus, the Christmas terror. We begin with a musical montage, where we see several people rushing and shoving their way into a store to buy gifts to take advantage of the best prices, complete with fights and security guards electrocuting customers. We switch to a school play, where we see our protagonist Max fighting with another child and his parents running to break up the fight while everyone laughs, and the adults film another normal Christmas day. Tom, the boy's father, tells the boy that he should write him a letter apologizing for breaking up the Christmas presentation. But the boy says that it wasn't his fault because the boy always picked on everyone at Christmas and had said that Santa was just an advertisement to sell soda. The father goes on to ask if he needs a kick in the Netherlands to solve that. The boy replies by saying that he was upset because he only ate candy and sugar, and asks if everyone would get together to watch the Charlie Brown Christmas special and wrap the presents. But Tom says that the boy would do it alone as punishment. The man gets a call from work. The man gets a phone call from work, which annoys his wife Sarah, and he goes out to answer it. At which point the woman asks her daughter Beth to help her finish decorating the house because the rest of the family was already arriving. Beth says that she doesn't want to share the rooms with her cousins because they are strange and one of them had pooped on her bed. And besides these pictures not being aligned, which would make a touchy-feely person a little uncomfortable, in one of the pictures Santa Claus is staring at Beth. And that's probably not the kind of picture you want on your wall. Max, sad with all that, leans on the table. Omi comes and asks if he had already finished his letter to Santa, but the boy says no because he did not know what to ask, listening to the discussion of his mother and sister in the room. His grandmother says he will soon find out. The boy asks if the lady believes in Christmas, and she says yes, because the spirit of Nikolaus is the gift and sacrifice. Okay, nothing bizarre here, right? Beth goes to her room to talk to her boyfriend Derek, who calls her to smoke a fern, but she says she's stuck at home. At this moment the whole house starts shaking, and we see the Elgins getting ready because the rest of the staff has arrived. And if their house is shaking just because a car is parking in the garage, they urgently need to check the structure of this place. Because imagine what happens when a storm with strong winds occurs there. For sure this guy must change a lot of roof tiles. Sarah goes to the door and we hear that the other family is also fighting. Opening the door we see her sister Linda. They hug each other and Max starts to talk to his cousin Howie, asking him what he asked Santa for. But his cousin seems to be a little different and just stares at him with his mouth open. Then Howard, Linda's husband, enters, knocking all the presents on the floor. The couple's other two daughters, Jordan and Stevie, who look at the letter to Santa in Max's pocket. And, of course, the family dog, Rose. As everything that is good can get worse, Sarah and Linda's insufferable Aunt Dorothy arrives in the living room complaining about the snow in the driveway, saying that she needs wine and asking where the drinks are, because she needs to be happy. Tom asks if the two of them had another daughter, and Linda asks her husband to go get the baby Christy that they had forgotten in the car. At which point Sarah starts arguing with her sister, saying that she shouldn't bring Aunt Dorothy because she was insufferable. But the woman says that she has been holding her bushes for a long time and got tired of it. The two men come back with the baby and everyone goes to the table to eat. There Howard says that he will teach Howie to play soccer, and asks if Tom has ever played soccer, and he tells him that he hasn't because he was part of the Boy Scouts. Well, survival training should never be underestimated. We have already seen how this can help you a lot in your next, where Erin had to deal with hired killers. But let's just say she knew what to do in an emergency situation. But I think that in this situation the training won't be of much use. Linda asks him not to talk about guns on the table, and the baby throws food on the floor. Seeing her sister irritated, Linda orders the kids not to dirty anything because Sarah likes everything to be perfect, and that's why she makes rich people's dishes. At this moment, Jordan and Stevie start teasing Max for believing in Santa Claus, but Beth tries to calm him down. However, everything goes to hell when Stevie starts reading the boy's letter, where it says that he wants to spend more time with his sister because he doesn't have many friends. At this moment, the girl reads that Max wrote that Howard wanted them to be boys. The three of them start to fight and the boy gets mad and yells that he hates all of them, and runs to his room afterward. Tom goes to the boy's room and says that he should be more tolerant because they will only be a few days. The boy asks him that he doesn't understand why they have to stay at his house. And the boy says that it's for Christmas, because even with all the defects they were family, and that if he wanted he could still deliver the letter. Tom leaves the room and Max tears up the rest of the paper and throws it out the window, the fragments start to fly in a strange way. The same second they disappear into the atmosphere. A blizzard starts, and we see a giant black cloud forming over the house. Okay, from the way that house shook when Howard's Hummer parked, it will have a hard time getting through this blizzard. The next day Max sees a strange snowman outside his house and tries to draw his parents' attention to it, but they are arguing about what they would do to get through the days without power in a house with several people. Upon hearing their son, the two go to check and say there is nothing wrong. But the boy questions who would make a snowman in a dangerous blizzard. The doorbell rings. Sarah was going to answer it, but Linda goes ahead and opens the door. She takes the letter and asks if there were 2 packages, because there was a red bag there too, but the delivery man says he didn't put it there. Linda tells Howard to take the bag inside. Well, this is what happens when you let other people receive your things. There could have been anything in that bag since it wasn't the letter carrier who brought it. And who in their right mind isn't suspicious of a full bag left by a stranger in front of the door? Beth goes to her mother and tells her that Derek wasn't answering her messages and that this was not normal, and asks her to go out and check if he's okay because it was only a few blocks away. Sarah refuses but is convinced by Tom, who tells her to relax because everything will be fine. And what kind of parents let their daughter go out alone in the middle of a blizzard? You should in no way underestimate the power of a blizzard. Besides the intense cold where the temperature is sure to be below zero, the winds can reach 56 kilometers per hour. So going out in the middle of such an event is extremely dangerous. Your visibility would be practically null, which could make you easily lost even in known terrain. Besides the risks of hypothermia. If your body temperature drops below 33 degrees, you start to feel the symptoms of hypothermia strongly. And don't doubt how quickly this can happen in places with negative temperatures. Besides that, there is frostbite, which is an injury that can happen to the fingers and ears and usually happens to those who spend a lot of time exposed to the cold. This usually happens with climbers where they have this severe reaction and end up losing their fingers because the tissue never returns to normal. Well, I can't show you here how it looks, but if you are curious, just search for frostbite on YouTube. And I am not even talking about the damage that can occur in the house. Like the snow can lock the exits of the place, windows can be broken, and trees can fall. The girl leaves the house and looks around the streets to see if any house still had power. While she was walking, Beth hears a strange roar followed by the sound of chains. She sees a creature with giant horns and a red cloak. The monster jumps very high to the roof of another house. The girl screams and starts running in the middle of the street, with the monster being able to jump on top of her at any moment. Beth hides under the vehicle, and the beast lands on the ground right in front of her. Seeing the goat hooves dragging under the snow, the girl covers her mouth to not scream. And the beast goes away with a jump, but leaves a little music box on the ground. From inside it comes out a little creature that attacks Beth. Let's just say that if the creature decided to jump on top of the van, Beth would probably be crushed here. Although it seems that she has already been finished off by the creature in the little box. Back to the family. Sarah and Tom sit in front of the window and start talking. The woman tells her husband that she is worried because it's almost nightfall, and the girl hasn't arrived yet, and for sure she won't. Tom worries and asks Howard if his truck can handle the blizzard, and he answers yes. The two begin to get ready but are stopped by Omi, who says it's too dangerous and it would be better to wait for the storm to pass. I definitely agree with the old lady, but the two go anyway. In the middle of the blizzard, Tom tries to tune the radio to any station, but he finds it strange that there is no signal. Howard says that maybe the snow has knocked down the antennas, and on the way they both come across a snowplow and stop to check it out. At the house, Sarah and Linda are talking about the Christmases they spent with their dead mother, but are interrupted by the sound of footsteps coming from the roof. Sarah says it's just squirrels, but Aunt Dorothy strikes back, saying that squirrels don't come out in the snow, and Sarah must live in Chernobyl to be used to squirrels making the house shake. Back to the men, who look at the car and see Christmas presents lying around and a hole in the windshield, which indicated that something very large had pulled the man out of the vehicle. And the way Tom takes the gun, probably the guy doesn't know how to shoot, or he could have been hurt right away because he had pointed the gun at himself. So handing a gun to someone with no practice could end up being worse than leaving the person unarmed. The person could get scared and shoot someone unintentionally, or even when he needs to shoot, he wouldn't know how to remove the safety lock of the gun, and then the two go to Derek's house and find it empty, but with several signs of a fight. Going to the living room, the two see a big hole in the chimney and think that a gas pipe has burst, but change their minds when they see goat hoof prints on the floor. They get scared and wonder what kind of goat walks like a human. So I would only have one answer at this point, and that would be that some kind of pagan idol has emerged from hell and is ready to take over the earth. But that's just my thinking. Maybe I'm a little paranoid about these things. Suddenly they hear Beth scream and Tom desperately runs out into the snow trying to find the source of the noise, but has to stop when something under the snow attacks Howard and tries to pull him down. He pulls out his revolver and shoots into the snow, which alerts his family who hear the shots. Sarah takes her coat and says she will look for the boys. When they come through the door, Tom puts Howard on the couch and begins to tend to his wounds. His wife takes the children out of the room and asks Dorothy and Omi to look after them. And before she leaves, the lady asks them to keep the fire going. Surely being wounded in a situation like this is a death sentence. After all, he will end up losing a lot of blood and without being able to go to a hospital. We already know how it ends. The two tell what happened out there, including that Howard's Hummer was destroyed by the creatures. The two ask everyone to stay at home. Sarah gets desperate and asks if they've seen Beth, and the two say no. She then proposes that everyone goes out looking for the girl. Obviously, this is a great idea. Let's all go out in the snow right after the guy is bitten and almost pulled into the earth by some kind of monster. Impossible for that to go wrong. But Howard cuts Sarah off and says that this wouldn't be possible because there was also someone coming into the houses and killing everyone. Tom asks how many bullets he has, and the man answers that he has some cartridges in his shotgun and about 12 in his pocket. The children say that they heard everything and come into the room scared. Tom asks for help to barricade the windows with wood, and so they do, turning the house into a fort. He and Howard are on guard, but Howard suggests that Tom go to sleep with his family and stay awake watching everything. A rookie mistake. Everyone knows that you should keep watch on at least 2 people in a pair. You avoid the other person sleeping and leave the one who has just been injured watching as just plain stupid. Because this guy could fall asleep at any time because of the injury or because of pain medication he has taken. Everyone ends up sleeping in the house, including Howard. Then the fireplace goes out. As soon as the embers cool down, we hear small whispers, and then a gingerbread cookie comes down through a chain full of rattles. The chain is shaken a few times, which wakes Howie. The boy gets up and goes to the cookie, grabs it and then bites it. At this moment, the cookie starts to move and screws the chains on the poor boy. The boy screams, waking up the whole family. Sarah realizes it and grabs Howie's feet and tries to pull him up. Tom and Howard grab her and start pulling. But the cookie scares the woman, who releases the boy, who disappears screaming into the shadows, leaving behind only his shoe. While all this was going on, Max had to put out a small fire in the family Christmas tree. If this boy had not put it out, the family would surely be in serious trouble. Howard whines and cries because he thinks it's his fault, since he slept and left the house unprotected, and Sarah struggles in tears over what she saw in the chimney. Omi lights the fire again and says it's everyone's fault, and that's why he came to get them. The woman asks who, and she asks them to listen to her. He sits down and tells them that it all began one cold night in her old village. Christmas that year was dark. Everyone was hungry and times were hard. And because of this, everyone forgot the sacrifice of giving that goes with Christmas. And her family was no different. Her parents fought like never before. And even if she tried to remind them what Christmas was, they despised her. So she also gave up on Christmas and wished for everyone to disappear. The same night her request was granted. What visited her that night was not Santa Claus. It was his shadow, something very old and sinister, Krampus, who does not come to give, but to take away. She had to listen to him take her family to the afterlife, totally impotent, and knowing that she would be next. But that was not what happened. He let her live as a reminder of what happened to those who forgot about Christmas. And for us to better understand what the Krampus is, I will explain a little more about what this creature is. In mythology, this creature accompanied Saint Nicholas during Christmas time while the good old man distributes gifts around during Christmas. The Krampus punished the bad children at this time. Obviously, the appearance of this being was inspired by ancient demons, being half goat and half demon. In some places in Europe, there are even festivals to celebrate the creature where people wear masks and go out into the streets. At the end of the old lady's story, Howard gets angry and calls Omi crazy. He gets up and says that regardless of who it is, he messed with his son and will find him at any cost. He goes towards the door. Tom tries to stop him, but the man points his gun and says that the decision is his. When he opens the door and puts his foot in the snow, the man is amazed because he sees several figures moving behind several snowmen scattered around the place. Sarah pulls everyone inside and orders no one else to open the door. The children surround Omi and tell her that they left cookies and milk for Santa Claus. But the lady says that it's not about what you do. It's about what you believe. Stevie inquires about how to send the monster away, but the woman says that this is not possible. In the kitchen, Tom asks Sarah to go after the others as she was setting up an escape plan. She finds Linda in the attic wrapping the presents, and in one of them she hears the giggles of Krampus helpers. Reunited, Tom explains that with their help he will get into the snowplow they saw on the road, as the key was in the ignition, and they would use the car to drive until they find a safe place and more people to look for Beth. Howard asks if he planned to take the snowplow alone, and he confirms that he did. After seeing those creatures out there, I highly doubt they would let any of them get anywhere near the snowplow, other than the mole creature that pulled and bit Howard on the leg. Upstairs, Jordan and Stevie go to use the bathroom, because their Aunt Dorothy had clogged the one underneath. As they were arriving, they hear Beth's voice in the attic. Relieved, the two ask where the girl was all this time, and she asks them to go upstairs that she would show them. Downstairs, the family hears the girls screaming, so Linda, Tom, and Sarah go upstairs to see what was going on, asking Howard to take care of the downstairs. When they get upstairs, they see the gift wrappings open from the inside to the outside. After a lot of searching, they see behind some junk a toy clown devouring Jordan. Tom hesitates to shoot, and the animal starts trying to get into the pipe. When they look up, a doll falls from the ceiling, attacking Sarah and knocking her to the floor. At this moment, a teddy bear attacks Linda and knocks her down too. Tom tries to help her, but a toy robot mounts on his back and starts to hurt him with a knife. While on the floor, Linda sees Stevie unconscious nearby, and the clown trying to escape with her other daughter through the pipes. Angry, she takes a sharp object and pierces the bear's eye. Throwing it from the ladder, takes an axe and throws the doll and the robot away with just one blow. She goes for the clown, but before she can hit him, he escapes in the pipes. In parallel to all of this, Howard hears noises coming from the kitchen and decides to check it out. When he gets there, he takes 3 shots of nails in the leg. When looking at the counter, the man sees 3 gingerbread cookies with the nail gun that was used to barricade the house. The man sneaks up to the counter and uses a meat-cutting board to defend himself. When the nails are finished, he shoots the cookies, causing them to catch fire. Even so, they come at him. He shoots 2 of them, but the third one deflects and jumps on his face. But before he can reach it, he is devoured by the dog Rose. Everyone gathers near the chimney. Linda tells her husband that they need to save their daughter, who was taken away. She hears the clown in the pipe, and Max opens it for Rose to enter. The dog fights with the monster and loses, but in her efforts she makes the thing break the ceiling and fall into the room. Bear and the doll appear and start trying to stop him from shooting the clown. But Dorothy takes the shotgun and destroys Bear and the doll. But when she was going to shoot the clown, Howard throws himself at the clown, who was about to be rescued for not wanting to lose another child, and is also pulled out of the house. The rest of the family is surrounded by the masked creatures that stop their attack when they hear the Krampus roar. Then the monsters retreat and disappear in the snow. Seeing the opportunity, Tom takes the leftover ammunition and orders the rest of the family to get ready because they are going to the snowplow. When everyone was leaving, Omi tells everyone to be happy and locks the door behind his back. The man thinks about going through the window, but Max says that his grandmother wants to face the Krampus and help buy time. The family then leaves in the direction of the vehicle. Well, unless this old lady knows how to blow up this house by taking out a C4 that she kept under her mattress, I don't see her being very useful staying behind, because it would be very easy for the Krampus to finish her off and come running after the family. Everybody remembers the speed of this creature when it was chasing Beth, right? Once inside the house, the lady just watches while something giant comes down the chimney making grotesque noises. As soon as it stands up after reaching the ground, we see the demon's appearance. A thin and hunchbacked old man with a frozen white beard and a deformed mouth with a giant tongue sticking out. A red cloak and hood, horns and goat legs and deep black eyes. The creature raises his finger and touches Omi. Then the thing pulls out a bag of toys and opens it. The old lady looks inside and sees several toys moving. They jump at her, and this is the last vision we have of the old lady. In the middle of the snow, the family runs as fast as they can to the vehicle, and as soon as they see the emergency light and think they have hope, the creature that is underneath the snow appears. Tom fires a few shots but realizes that he can only buy time for the rest of his family. He hugs his son and wife and orders them to run to the snowblower. He stays behind and waits for the creature to approach. When it does, he fires several shots but can't kill it. He then surrenders and is pulled underneath the snow. The most they could do here is not stop running, and Tom would keep shooting while they went to the snowplow. But by my count, he didn't have that much ammunition, so it would be impossible for him to shoot several times as he did while his family was running. So, he would quickly be caught by the creature, and so would the rest of the family. Upon reaching the vehicle, Linda gets her leg stuck in the snow. She pushes her daughter Stevie up, and as soon as she does so, she is pulled under the snow as well. Sarah gets everyone inside the cabin and says she loves Max, and like the others is pulled in by the creature. In desperation, the two children try their best to start the vehicle, But the engine was frozen, and this is a very common problem in temperatures that are far below freezing. There are several places in Russia where people have to leave their cars running from October to April to avoid such freezing, and there are also engine heaters that are used to avoid the problem. As the engine was frozen, they don't go anywhere, and suddenly Krampus helpers appear and take Stevie away. Max manages to throw into the snow the monster that was holding him. The creature that was walking under the ground pulls the Krampus helper and disappears. The boy gets out of the car and tries to go after his cousin, but is stopped by Krampus, who jumps in front of him and leaves him a rattle. The same rattle his grandmother had, indicating that it would leave him alive as a reminder of what happens when hope is gone and the spirit of Christmas dies. Unsatisfied and determined to find his family at any cost, the boy follows the creature to a place where all the monsters were partying. When he sees his cousin, he yells for them to stop. He tells Krampus that he takes back the wish and wants his family back. When he throws the rattle, the ground opens up, a crater is formed where they would throw the girl. Max climbs into the hole and tells Krampus to take him away, but to give him back his family. The creature wipes away his tears and starts laughing and debauching him. His minions throw Stevie into the hole. Then Krampus lifts the boy up under the crater. The boy apologizes and says he just wanted Christmas to be like before. The creature lets him go, causing him to fall into the orange abyss. The boy then falls out of his bed and hears the voices of his family downstairs. When he goes downstairs, he is surprised to see everyone there. They sit down and start to open their presents. Max gets a little box with his name on it, and when he opens it, he finds none other than Krampus' rattle. Then everyone remembers what happened. And so, the movie ends with Max fulfilling his wish for a Christmas like the previous ones. As we zoom out, we see that the family's house is inside a snow globe, along with several others. And this is the last scene of the movie. After Max withdraws the request he had unconsciously made to Krampus, he would only be taking away the very protection he had, because he was supposed to be the only survivor of the family to tell the story. And the family would never have a way to escape from that place, because probably when that storm was formed, the house and everyone nearby was taken to a parallel dimension, or even that snow globe we see at the end. Surely Krampus had the power to trap the family inside the snow globe and enter there to play with everyone. And from what I saw, the only effective thing would be to use fire against Krampus, and it was already used a few times to defeat the creature. But besides killing the monster, they would need to undo the spell that put the family's house inside the snow globe. What do you think of this Christmas special about the Krampus? If you liked the video, don't forget to leave your like and subscribe to the channel to receive the notifications of the defeating movie. Thank you very much for watching, and remember not to lose the Christmas spirit or the Krampus will pay you a visit.